So my husband John, he's the CIO, and he negotiates a lot. And this particular time, so he and his team negotiated with this vendor on the multi-year software contract, and there was a lot of back and forth, and eventually they settled, and everything went well. They settled on the terms. They signed the contract, and when they went to implement the software, they realized some of the key features were missing. It was not part of the package. They thought they were going to get those parts, and they also signed up for features that they didn't need. So when they realized that, then those were key features that really they couldn't do without. And so at this point, the contract was signed, and I said, "Tell them, look, we really need this, and we know that it's not in a contract, but is there anything that you can do?" So, and John, he's really good with people. I wasn't involved in the actual negotiation, but he said that these people, and they're salespeople, they were sharks. They wanted to get every dime that they can get, and so they were asking to say, "Well, sorry, it's not in a contract, so we're gonna have to charge you more." But when he went back and showed humility, actually, it was they said yes very quickly and said, "No, we want to help you. We want this long-term relationship to be a good relationship," and it worked.
Yeah, sometimes just it's the why, right? Like it's acknowledging that you made the mistake of not having it in the contract. And like I'm not sure I know of a contract that gets everything in it. Even when you
Mhm.
run it through a bunch of people, it always seems like there's something that gets left out, especially with technology.
Mhm.
And so, just acknowledging, yep, I messed that up, but we're at the top of our budget. And, you know, we need this to work in order to have a long-term relationship.
Mhm.
So sometimes just like appealing to the bigger picture, like, I'm in this with you
Mhm.
for, I don't know, 3, 5 years with technology, but we need this to actually make it work. And there's just no more money because sharks still want the sale.
Yes.
And sometimes when
And
they realize there's nothing else.
right. They could have said, "Nope, everything is signed," even though I understood there was miscommunication, the way that it was presented, there was some misunderstanding. So it wasn't that they were free of responsibility, but the problem was that the contract was signed.
Yeah, right.
Um,
Right.
yeah.
So they could hold you to it. Yeah, I think your key
Mhm.
lesson is that sometimes exposing vulnerability and acknowledging your errors and
Mhm.
also like your limitations, because it's not like John works for the university too. It's not like he's the ultimate decision maker. He has a budget. And
Mhm.
so recognizing, look, they need this and we're trying to
Mhm.
build a lucrative relationship in the long term
Mhm.
will sometimes get people
Right.
to bounce back. All right, you want to
Mhm.
flip it? So that way I'm telling you a story and you can tell me what you pull out.
Yeah,
All
sure.
right. We have recently written and published a book, The Uncertainty Playbook, and it's available on Egghead Press, our websites, and Amazon. So you want to pick that up? That's great. We'd really appreciate it, especially if
It's a
we
great
review it.
book.
Thank you. Appreciate it. And so we were negotiating with some big book publishers originally. And since Jeff wrote his first book, AI has come out, and I believe that AI is what triggered this particular clause in the negotiation. Because more than anything, this is the clause that killed it. Uh, and so they came out to us and they wanted us to sign away our moral rights. And I know that's a crazy word, but basically, because this was a lesson for us too, we'd never heard the term before. But basically, from what we can tell, it means that they can take our material and use our identity and put it out in any shape that they want, including selling it to AI. including creating courses out of it and going into competition with us, and are using our material to go into competition with us, and we'd only get a fraction of the money back. And so there were a lot of ways that it could go wrong, and it was just a blanket sign away your moral rights. And we tried to negotiate with them and say, hey, like, okay, you want some freedom to be able to do some things, but we want you to be more specific about what you would want to use our identity and our content. The contract needs to be more specific. We're not going to give you blanket moral rights. And their response to us was, we've been in business a long time. We love authors. Everybody is signing this contract. And so we walked away from them for that reason. And we won't sign a contract for moral rights. And so that's one of my favorite recent negotiation experiences. So what do you pull out of that, Jen?
Understanding what you're signing away, the terms, and what's important to you, right? Prioritizing what's important to you. I think in negotiation, we talk about when there's different priorities, we can trade off. But when there's something that is non-negotiable, then you walk away, right? There are times, even though we say that our goal is always to have a deal, but there are times that we need to walk away without a deal.
Sometimes the best deal is no deal.
Right. And in this case, I feel like there's a lot of things that kind of wrapped into this. It's not just negotiation. This is a big deal. This is your work, your intellectual property, right? And your right, your future earnings. And I can't believe that they're asking, I have no idea that the publishers are asking these from the authors. And that just sounds egregious.
Yeah, I'm sure they're not for the Tom Clancy's of the world. I'm sure they're not. But this is our second book, so you don't have as much power when you are small, but that's one of the benefits of what's happened in the book publishing world is they don't have quite the chokehold on it that they used to have. You have a lot more small publishers and self-publishing, and you can find another path.
There's another way.
Yeah. So there's a power dynamic there that they're still sort of operating on the old power dynamics a little bit.
Yeah.
It was pretty surprising. But to me, I think we do feel that pressure to have a deal when we go into a negotiation, and sometimes no deal is the best deal. The other thing that I think stood out to me was the influence tactics. So repeatedly, everybody else is signing this contract. Well, everybody else drank Kool-Aid,
Right. Are they telling you that everybody else is signing?
Yeah, I think they said that.
Do you know that?
Oh, I don't.
Do you know that for a fact?
There'd be no way for me to know, but I mean that they're an ongoing business, and so I imagine that they probably have many people who sign because it's prestigious. They're a good publishing house. It's prestigious, and the distribution and all that. So I'm sure there probably people are signing, but that doesn't mean it's a good decision. People in RAS make bad decisions all the time.
Yeah, I imagine one, they're telling everybody that, but we don't know if it's true. And like you said, it could be true, and a lot of people are doing it because they feel, they bought into that everybody else is doing it. And that is one of the things, we're allowing the other side in negotiation, right? We're allowing the other side to influence us and provide the facts. And that is moving our BATNA. That's lowering the quality of our BATNA, the best alternative to a negotiated agreement, and thus lowering our leverage. Again, that's another lesson that I've learned, that's to always be really careful, relying on my own homework the facts that I found instead of what the other side is telling me.
Yeah, that's actually a good point. Like, it really is important to pull out and do your own research before you go into a negotiation. And sometimes, like, the negotiation process is part of the pulling out. Like, I don't know that we could have anticipated we'd been through a negotiation process before, and with a different publisher, but still we'd been through it before, but it was 10, 12 years ago. So things have changed. I don't know if we would know this without having gone through the process. And sometimes, yes, do your research up front and try to wait on making a deal until you have enough good information. But sometimes you're gathering that information in the process of negotiating.
Right.
If you don't feel like you know the terms, and you have to step out and figure that out.
If you have the opportunity to delay it.
Well, you always have the opportunity to delay it, because if you're not going to allow me to actually understand what I'm signing, then you're done. Like, as soon as it becomes high pressure like that, I start to wonder what you're actually doing.
Yeah. But you're an experienced negotiator. I feel that, a lot of students that we teach, they're in their early 20s. They're not experienced. And until someone tells them, hey, you can delay, you don't have to answer on the spot. And sometimes they feel like they have to.
Not only that, I encourage them to not take the offer immediately. They should go back and they should talk to their family and their uncle who negotiates all the time. They should get other people's perspectives before saying yes. And anybody who is negotiating with you and isn't willing to give you that space, you do have to wonder what game they're playing.
Right. People like that, though, they play on the other side's fear. Like, well, if you don't do it now, and we see this in sales, right? Situations all the time. Like, the deal is only good for today.
Oh, I'll tell you a funny story. So, I drive my cars into the ground, and so I loved it, but I had a Volvo station wagon, an 850 wagon, and it was embarrassing. My mother-in-law, it was so bad. I would go over the causeway and there'd be a cloud of black smoke coming out behind me. But I really liked the car. It was like really reminded me of my dog. I named the car after her.
Oh.
And so I was very attached to this car. Plus, I just run cars into the ground, ultimately. I drive them forever. And so anyway, like, every time I would get into this car, something else would break. And like I said, the black smoke. There was one time I was driving around and I was like, why is everybody honking at me today? And I hit a speed bump in my car. It was like a light honking, right? So I thought it was coming outside the car, but I hit this speed bump and all of a sudden my car just was like really honking. And I'm like, oh my God, it's me. I'm the one honking. Every time it has a bump, I'm honking. And now it's like,
oh my gosh,
off the chain. So now I'm going over any bump and I'm going, like, people are walking on the side of the road and my car is honking. And so I'm like, hi,
oh my gosh,
hi, trying to be like aggressively pleasant because my car is honking really annoyingly at people, and I have to go and figure out how to disconnect it. So anyway, this is the car. This is the state the car is in when I bring it to the car dealership to look for a new car. And I have 3 different kinds of cars. Not surprising, like a Toyota, Honda, and a Subaru that I'm looking at. The standard. And the guy, and I've driven up in this station wagon, and the guy says to me, he offers me, I don't know, $1,000 for this car or whatever it is. And I say, okay, well, thanks. I'm going to go check out these other cars. And he goes, well, you can, but if anything breaks on that car, I can't promise that we will make a deal And I just laughed at him and I said, you could throw this car in the trash heap. Like, everything is broken on this car. Like, you're not giving me anything. And like, that's an example of like the limited time. And it was just so ludicrous. Like, oh my God, I might not get $100. I might only get scrap material money for this car.